Imagine a tank that doesn't rush the breach, it erases it. A gun so steady you can call corrections like artillery, armor so stubborn it shrugs off the kind of hits that end careers, and a crew capsule built to live through the worst day on Earth. That's the British Challenger 2, now wearing Ukrainian markings, and the twist is simple. It's not playing the role it trained for. It's fighting like a long-range, precision sniper tank, and on a battlefield ruled by drones and sensors. That change of job description matters. In Ukraine, the ground changed faster than doctrine. Massed armor met mine belts, artillery corridors, loitering munitions, and FPV drones flying treetop routes you can't draw on a staff map. The old, tanks lead, infantry follow rhythm inverted. Instead of spearheading assaults, Ukraine pushed its best Western tanks, Abrams, Leopard, Challenger, back from the hottest edges and asked them a new question. Can you hit first round, far away, on call, again and again? The Challenger's answer has been yes often enough to matter. You won't see it charging across open fields. You'll see it nosed into a tree lean, hull down, thermal sights awake, talking to drones. The tanks fire, shift, cool down, and do it again. Precision pulses instead of rolling thunder. That isn't glamorous. It is survivable. And survivable firepower is what wins long wars. Front lines are watched by low-cost quadcopters and reconnaissance UAVs that turn any exposed tank into a GPS coordinate inside a chat app. Glide bombs cover the approaches. Mine plows bog down. And every minute you linger after firing is an invitation for a Lancet or FPV to find you. So Ukraine adapted. Let cheap senses find expensive targets, and let expensive guns hit them safely. When a surveillance quad spots a bunker at 2 to 3 miles, a Challenger under trees can throw a HESH round like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. Infantry can then advance behind fewer explosions and fewer surprises. That's artillery logic delivered by a turret that can traverse 360 degrees in seconds and connect the first shot. The Challenger's personality comes from 2 choices Britain made and stuck with. First, armor philosophy. Protect the crew at all costs with a multi-layer composite shell and thought-through stowage that vents disaster up and out. Second, gunnery philosophy. Keep a rifled 120mm that likes certain munitions, especially HESH, far more than smoothbore peers do. Put those together and you get a gun that prints tight groups and a hull/turret that forgive bad luck. In a support role, that mix is gold. The heart of the Challenger's mystique is the way it eats damage. Composite arrays and spacing don't promise invincibility. They buy margins, seconds to reverse, minutes to repair, and, most importantly, lives saved. Blow-off panels and segregated propellant stowage turn worst-case events into survivable blasts. It's all boring until it isn't. And on a battlefield where a $600 drone can set off a $6 million funeral, margins are strategy. Overpressure filtration, sealed volumes, and that famous British attention to crew comfort, kettle, cooker, even a basic toilet, weren't designed for clickbait. They were for fighting through nuclear biological chemical conditions and staying in the fight. In Ukraine, crew comfort translates to fewer open-hatch moments under hostile drones and crews that remain functional after long, cold cycles of wait-aim-fire move. A broad hull will never be invisible, yet details matter. Smoke systems that bloom fast, angles that complicate returns, and a doctrine that treats the tank's electromagnetic behavior as part of the survivability puzzle. Quick smoke, quick traverse, quick displacement. The 3 quicks add up to fewer seconds in somebody else's crosshairs. The Challenger's fire control ecosystem, laser range finding, stabilized day/thermal sights, ballistic computing, turns raw gun accuracy into repeatable effects. In practical terms, the commander can hold a panoramic picture while the gunner refines the shot, and both see heat where camouflage wants them to see leaves. A drifting crosswind, a cold morning, or a hot barrel becomes a math problem the computer already solved. Here's the visual. A quadcopter peeks over a tree line and sends back a live feed. A spotter tags a firing slit. The tank crew receives the grid, confirms on thermals, lasers, and sends one HESH round that pancakes explosive across the bunker face. Corrections take seconds. If the bunker is still spitting, another round leaves the tube. Meanwhile, a larger strike drone prowls for vehicles that try to flee. It's combined arms, but the radio calls are shorter and the airborne eyes are cheaper. In an age dominated by smoothbores firing hyperdense sabo darts, the Challenger's rifled L30A1 is an outlier, one with brand name precision. Rifling spins the projectile. Spin makes certain rounds fly truer. True flight makes first-round hits likelier, especially with HESH, which rewards accurate placement more than sheer penetrator speed. When the job is surgical demolition of firing positions, rifling earns its keep. Rifled tubes wear faster than mini smoothbores. Logistics for specialized ammunition are harder. Upgrades trail the mainstream. Those aren't secrets, they're constraints. In practice, it means careful shot discipline, a premium on maintenance, and a resupply picture that has to be managed months ahead, not weeks. Picture a Challenger tucked into a notch in the woods. The driver has a back-out path pre-marked. The commander rides his panorama. The gunner rocks on a thermally bright rectangle halfway across a field, and a small UAV circles lazy tight, pausing only to send a still frame with a red box around a loophole. Fire. Recoil. The turret slews a few degrees for deception. The driver eases back. The exhaust puffs a screen. 30 seconds later, the tank is a rumor again. Crews treat time on position like oxygen. Engines off between engagements to cool the IR signature. Radios tight. Decoys and false revs. The same composite armor that keeps crews alive keeps the timeline alive, but nobody bets on armor alone. Survival is emissions control plus terrain plus speed. Ukraine's mud seasons punish weight-to-power ratios. Heavy tanks rut and bog if mishandled. Crews plan routes like pilots plan fuel, margins, alternates, abort points. A tank that can drive anywhere will still only drive where it can also hide. Loss figures, sortie counts, and operational rates bounce around depending on who's counting and when. The only number that matters to a frontline commander is today's availability. In any fleet, some hulls fight, some repair, some cannibalize spares, and some train new crews. For a high-value platform like Challenger, the metric isn't quantity, it's effect per exposure. How many fortified points reduced? How many assaults made easier? How many men come home because a single round landed where it had to? Specialized barrels, rare round types, and unique components turn logistics into strategy. If you can't replace what breaks, you change how you fight so it breaks less. That's one reason Ukraine leans on the Challenger as a precision support asset, not a blunt spearhead. Fewer miles, fewer obstacles, more planned shots. When partners expand sustainment, training crews to do field-level fixes, forward stocking critical spares, streamlining refurbishment, the tank's calendar gets longer. A tank is a machine, a crew is a weapon system. The British tradition of crew survivability and procedure gives Ukrainian tankers a template. Checklist discipline, gunnery standards, post-contact debriefs that improve the next fight. That culture doesn't ship in a crate. It arrives with training teams, manuals, and the expected standard of do it right the first time because the second time is under fire. A tank used as long-range support changes the infantry's day. Instead of walking into a tree lean with a prayer and a grenade, they go in after a bunker face is already cracked and quiet. That doesn't remove risk, it loads the dice. Viral clips show tanks burning. What you don't see is the dozens of times a Challenger fired, vanished, and lived to repeat it. In a war measured by industrial output and morale, platforms that deliver repeatable effect without catastrophic losses shape the weekly ledger in Kiev's favor. Ukraine's real innovation with Western tanks is not a miracle tactic, it's humility. Instead of forcing Cold War playbooks onto a 4K drone battlefield, they borrowed what worked: accuracy, turret speed, stabilized sighting, and threw out what didn't: long, exposed dashes under UAV umbrellas. That mindset spreads. Expect more pairing between tanks and networks, better digital fires links, lighter ISR drones with non-RF guidance to beat jamming, and smarter shot selection tools that skip human steps without skipping human judgment. A future Challenger shot may be cued by a drone that never emits and confirmed by a sensor that rides along the round's trajectory. As stocks of niche rounds tighten, mixed loads and creative tactics matter. When HESH is precious, you use it where it's irreplaceable and lean on other effectors elsewhere. That's why combined arms in 2025 looks like a menu, not a hammer drawer. FPVs for moving soft targets, tube artillery for saturation, precision tank fire for hardened points you can see clearly. As threats grow, top attack drones, smarter submunitions, Challenger's crew-first bones are the right starting point. Add roof cages and spaced armor where they help. Reconsider where to park in a world of overhead cameras, and keep investing in the one upgrade that's always in stock: training. If you want a single image to remember, it isn't a tank cresting a ridge. It's a dark shape tucked under trees at dawn, optics canted toward a cold rectangle across a field. A drone pinwheels overhead. A commander marks a point. The loader nudges around home, and the gun barks once. Somewhere downrange, a firing slit disappears. The tank reverses into shadow. No medal ceremony. Just another tiny subtraction in a war won by arithmetic. If you want more clean, verified breakdowns of how modern weapons are really used, not the brochure version, tap subscribe and ring the bell.